Hello again, my lovelies. I'm Lady MCreepsta. So, I have a confession to make. I am actually rather impatient. Last week, I said that on top of putting in place the reward tiers for my Patreon page, that I also had a very special announcement to make on April 23rd. If you've been following my Facebook page at facebook.com/LadyMcCreepsta, you would have already found out what that announcement was. Some of you have asked me if I have merchandise. Well, as of this weekend, I have. So if you'd like to show your love for creepypasta, along with your love for this channel, click on the link in the video description for my first line of Lady McCreepsta's Dungeon Essentials. Be sure to come back and visit the store often, as I'll be updating it with various designs and goodies from time to time. Now, on with today's story. I know you hate cliffhangers, so I thought we'd get right back to Darren Rogers and his family, who are currently stuck in hell. What have they gotten themselves into this time? Come, lean in closer, and we'll begin. I really wish we'd never gone to hell. We trekked across the flat expanse of blood-red desert. As we grew closer to the gate of Oraktar, the landscape became more and more difficult to traverse. The sand became loose, and our feet sank in when we walked. Giant yellow bones jutted up like broken teeth. I had tried asking Ms. Hatchetface about what we'd find at Oraktar, but she wouldn't say a word. Likewise, Frankenteddy's usual cheerful demeanor had been replaced by an air of nervous silence. And so, we made our way, on in silence, to a place of which even demons feared to speak. The gate loomed as an enormous grey edifice in the distance. The monumental slate-grey stone pillars dominated the landscape, disappearing into the haze of dust that had replaced the clouds. Between them stood an oaken door that must have been the size of a small town. "Why does the gate need to be so big?" I asked. My voice sounded small against the enormity of the structure before me. As if in answer, the ground shook and fishes snaked their way up the pillars. The gate threatened to crumble at any moment. I hoped we weren't under it when it did. We arrived at the gate to see Satan standing there, jabbering away on a cell phone. "I'm sure we can work something out," he said, tugging at his collar. "There's no need to..." "Yes, I understand that, but..." "Satan!" Miss Hatchetface yelled. Satan spun around on his heel and looked at us. "What the hell are you guys doing here?" he asked. "You shouldn't use bad words in front of Sarah," Miss Hatchetface chastised. "It's okay," Sarah said. "I'm used to it." "Okay," Satan replied. "But seriously, you guys shouldn't be here right now." "We don't want to be here," Miss Hatchetface said. "But someone sealed off the exits to hell." "All right, I'll unseal them, but you have to promise to..." The ground shook again, and the cracks in the pillars deepened and spread like errant lightning bolts. Pieces of stone rained down from the sky like deadly rain. No, Satan said into the cell phone. "I'm not ignoring you. Some friends of mine just showed up. Listen, now's not really a good time for the apocalypse. Do you think that maybe we could..." "What, that's now?" "They're from Earth, why?" "But that's... how is that possible?" No, sir. I'm not questioning your judgment. Okay, I'll let them know. Satan tried clicking the phone shut, but dropped it on the ground by mistake. Never been good with these things, he said. The claws make it hard to type.
Satan, what the hell is going on? Miss Hatchetface asked.
Well, the elder gods seem to have awoken. Anyway, you know how the big bosses are. Always apocalypse this and mass genocide that.
The elder gods? Miss Hatchetface bit her lip and went ghost white. How did that happen?
Well, you know Jerry?
Jerry who?
Jerry the intern.
Satan, there are like 8 interns named Jerry.
He's the one with the axe in the head.
You mean Fursnal?
That's just his nickname. His real name is Jerry.
Okay, what about him?
Well, he was supposed to perform the rite of everlasting slumber a couple of weeks ago, but the goat he slaughtered was actually just a llama. Turns out Jerry isn't so smart. Maybe it's the axe in his head.
So, the gods woke up? Aren't there safeguards against that sort of thing?
Well, you know Gary the intern?
Miss Hatchetface sighed. I don't want to know, Satan. So the elder gods are up and planning to demolish hell? Is that it?
Well, Satan tugged at his collar.
Well, what?
Yes, and also Earth. But it's okay, I've got a plan.
Oh no, Miss Hatchetface planted her hand into her forehead.
It's easy, Satan said. All you've got to do is...
The great oaken door to the netherworld cracked and bulged in the center, sending giant splinters of wood flying off like missiles. Then it gave, and the beast from the netherworld burst forth. The netherworld creature was like something from a nightmare. It was an oily black monstrosity that distorted the reality around it as it shape-shifted and shimmered. It was colossal beyond imagining, and its true form was indiscernible as it swallowed the light around it. I had to do a double take as the next being came striding out of the netherworld gate. It was a human woman, dressed in a black form-fitting blazer and pencil skirt. I looked around for Satan to explain, but I couldn't see him amongst the rubble. I wondered if he had been crushed by a falling rock. The woman checked her clipboard and pushed her wire-rimmed glasses up her nose.
Is there a Sarah Rogers present?
Yes, Sarah said. The secretary glanced up over her glasses.
Hello, Mr. Rogers. I represent the legal interests of Mr. Ursnok, the World Eater.
Okay.
First off, Mr. Ursnok wanted to extend his sincerest apologies that you were nearly crushed to death by a troll demon earlier today. Mr. Ursnok had simply wanted to invade the mind of the demon to communicate with you. However, as I'm sure you know, homicidal fury is an unfortunate side effect of being mind-controlled by a netherworld being.
I was almost crushed to death because of a side effect?
We maintain that the convenience of netherworld mind control outweighs the side effect profile. Cholesterol medications have side effects too, but without them, Earth people wouldn't be able to gorge themselves on double cheeseburgers with impunity.
Okay, well, why did he want to talk to me?
The secretary checked her clipboard again. It seems Mr. Ursnok had the Earth scheduled for demolition this Wednesday, she said.
Today's Wednesday.
Yes, however, it has come to Mr. Ursnok's attention that a netherworld refugee is still at large within the realm of Earth. As such, the Earth cannot be destroyed at this time.
What does this have to do with me? Sarah asked.
We have the refugee listed as Miss Sarah Rogers, the secretary said.
Me? But I'm not from the netherworld. I'm from Earth. Sarah turned to me. Right, Dad?
Yes, that's right,
I said, turning to the nameless secretary. I was there for her birth. The secretary checked the clipboard again. This record is for a Sarah Rogers Sr. Sarah's eyes went wide. Mom? Are you telling me that my ex-wife is from the netherworld? I asked. How is that possible? We had a foreign exchange program set up with the University of Arizona in 1987. I met my wife at the University of Arizona in 1987. Well, there you go. Wait, isn't that the year all those students went missing for 2 months and came back possessed by demons? Then it was covered up by the administration? I don't know anything about that, sir. Really? Seems like you would. The secretary cleared her throat. The netherworld is absolved from legal responsibility for any unfortunate demon possession events. Those students signed waivers. They waived their rights to not be possessed by demons? Nobody really reads those things, she said, shrugging her shoulders. Look, I said, I have no idea where my ex-wife is. Well, I suggest you find her, the secretary said. In the meantime, as a descendant of the netherworld being, your daughter will stay here. What? Don't worry, Mr. Rogers, she said. We have an excellent daycare here in the netherworld. This is unacceptable, Frank and Teddy boomed. I will not abandon my charge to the dangers of the netherworld. It's perfectly safe, the secretary said. Then she crouched down and put on a big fake grin as she looked at Sarah. Here, girl, she said in a high-pitched voice. I'm not a dog, Sarah said. Fine, the secretary said, standing up and making a note in her clipboard. She snapped her fingers, and an orb of shining black light enveloped Sarah. Hey, stop that! I yelled. Frank and Teddy ran at the orb, but he got there too late. Sarah had vanished. Thank you very much for your understanding, Mr. Rogers. Mr. Ursnook, the World Eater, would be very grateful if you could locate the Netherworld refugee, as you were the last person to have seen her. The secretary and the Netherworld being slunk back through what remained of the gate. The shattered stone stubs of the pillars crumbled into dust as we stared at each other. Well, what do we do now? I said. The others merely shrugged. If you're new to this channel, remember to hit that subscribe button along with that bell icon to get updates whenever I upload new videos. If you're new to the series, a link to all the previous episodes is in the video description. That's all I have for you tonight, my dears. Come back and visit me soon.